Good morning, folks. I'm Joe Wesley of the Joe and Lizzy podcast. For those who are seeing us for the first time, thank you for joining. And for those who are coming back, thank you even more for seeing the value in coming back and participating. We tend to start a little bit early because we want to do some background work. When I say we, at some point, Lizzy will be here also. And we do this deliberately, the early start, because I want to get things that background information into your program, you might say. First off, a commercial break. This is the live performance. You can view us on the, I say repeats and not even the reruns, but later in the day, the program consists of who we are and what we talk about. And if you choose to look at us then, you can do it through LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. We do ask if you look at us through YouTube, please sign in through your Google account or YouTube account because we'd like you to leave comments and leave your opinions. Remember to share us. Remember to subscribe to us. And we do encourage you to ask questions, to give comments because it provides more life, more value. We really aren't here to hear us talk. We're here for you. So once again, we appreciate you being on board and we really, really look forward to having fun. Now, and also to educate you, to entertain you on top of that. The concept being, I'm a left brain kind of guy. Logic and reasoning, I'm very proud of that. And Lizzy is more the right brain persona of holistic care and services. So the challenge here is I understand the value of what she does intellectually, but it doesn't make sense to me, the left brain kind of guy. I mean, people start quoting Einstein as a commentary, like, who the hoot is that? I see she's trying to sign. Okay, good. We're signing in now. So anyway, the concept is, hi, Lizzy, how are you doing?
I am well. Good morning. Had some technical difficulties this morning, but we arrived.
I noted that.
Thank you for starting
It's
without
persistence.
me.
Well, it's persistence, folks, and that's what it's all about. And actually, to say this in a different format, we don't rehearse this stuff. We agree to a topic. We want to keep it real. We want to keep it live. So this is when I say live, they say in TV, if there's a live performance, any glitches, any mistakes will be all out there. And it adds to the challenge of it, but it also adds to the fun of it. So what I was talking about, Lizzy, was why we exist, that you're left brain wellness coach and a yoga certified instructor. And I get the concept of what you do, but I don't really understand the yin and yang of what you do. So I'm here to ask questions that hopefully make some sense to me. And by the way, folks, Lizzy is extremely accomplished. Quick of mind, quick of feet in her presentation. It is hard to pin her in a corner on anything definite. So I plead with you who are listening to us, please leave your comments. I can use all the help I can get. Share your thoughts and opinions. So she just soaks it up, not even any sense of embarrassment on this. It is brutal. So we really appreciate your input. Having said that, we do block programs now, and the program now is clutter, or to declutter actually. And we try to do a sequence of that to develop a theme, and then we roll into the next program. So springtime, we try to use the calendar as part of our program. So as Lizzy would say, declutter spring into prioritizing you. Now, I kind of get that conceptually, but my question is, it just grabs at me. I do believe that sometimes people use clutter as a buffer. It protects us from the concerns or fears of maybe making wrong decisions. So she kind of says, well, just do it. Well, I'm not sure how we get there. So I'm going to stop rambling for the moment and see what Lizzy has to say on that.
Okay. Well, first I would say, when you said it's confusing decisions, I always tell people, and I mean, this is not me telling them, but this is the fact that the word decision or decide means to cut in Latin. It means to cut. So it means to, when you're thinking about decluttering, it's to cut off everything except the things that matter most, that matter
Excuse
most.
me, I'm going to interrupt, but I'm cutting off pieces of me. My legacies, my histories, my memories. So anyway,
Well,
I'm gonna
no,
stop again.
it's releasing the things that don't matter most to you. You want to keep the things that matter most to you. But
Everything.
well, no, that's not that. See, that's where it's, that's where the confusion comes in. You need to be able to assess a little bit
My
what it
point,
is. Again,
confusion.
what we
Yes.
talked about. Do you love it? Do you lose it? Do you want to give it away? Or do you throw it away as far as things go? But it's also emotional clutter. There's that emotional stuff that we need to let go of in order to move forward. So that might mean
Well,
people, that might
I'm going
mean,
to interrupt. I'm going to ask a question. This is more serious. What if some people say, I've made so many bad decisions, I'm afraid to make any kind of new decision?
Mhm.
And that's an emotional feeling. And so they hang on to things that, and the irony of it, I guess, is is it me or is it the world around me, a combination of? So that's kind of the focus of my question.
well, a lot of times, yeah, people hang on to jobs and people and relationships that are no longer serving them because they're afraid, like you said, of what could be out there after that. But I think it's all about making these decisions and then seeing, is that taking us closer to our purpose, to where we want to be, or is it not? So you can go off course, perhaps, and then you can get back on. I always say that, like, it's not a straight line
Mm-hmm.
to success. It's not a straight line to becoming a better version of yourself. There's going to be detours. There's going to be wrong decisions, and then you can course correct. Always course correct. I think we're always doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and hey, Cameron, good to see you.
Right. Thank you for visiting us, Cameron. We do appreciate that. By the way, Cameron, he didn't pay me for this. He is one amazing guy. If you look him up, he's got many programs going on that I believe will be to your benefit. So thank you, Cameron, for your outreach. Very
Agreed.
meaningful.
He is amazing MC for sure, and
So I'm sorry
amplifier.
for interrupting, but I just had to kick that in.
I agree. I'm so happy to see him. It's wonderful. So again, I think it's a really about what we're talking about here is about the decluttering as an act of self-care, when it is an act of self-care. So I think your surroundings, again, your people, your things, they can either lift your mood or they can bring you down. And living in a space that's really cluttered, or you're overscheduling, or you're spending time with people that don't lift you up, are things to take a look at for this spring cleaning, and decluttering, living in a space that has less things and less people, even that you only has spend time with the people that lift you, really is an act of self-love, and an act of um, time saving also. When you're looking for looking for things and you can't find your things, it wastes your time, it wastes your finite energy you
I,
know
I understand the concept of that, but I'm going to give another example, and this is physical, but it's also mental, emotional. To me, it's one big room.
hmm
Before I got married, single guy that I was, I had metal plates. I forgot where they came from. I love those plates. They would never break when you dropped them. They were easy to clean. I had two or three at the most. My wife, then my girlfriend, at some point my fiance, she hated those plates. She said they had no style to them. They didn't look good. They didn't have little cute designs around the edges. And we had ongoing discussions before we got married about those plates. And I'm secure in my world. I'm mindful of those plates. Well, within 2 or 3 weeks after we got married, somehow the plates disappeared. So now, to me, it was a legacy. It was a part of who I am. She was telling me clearly it gets in the way. You don't need it. It doesn't look good. That was really her theme. I'm still in shock. That was like 80,000 years ago. You see, I'm still bleeding on that concept. So I'm not sure if it's that seamless, clearing your mind and getting your mindfulness and this declutter
That
thing.
is very, very funny, and I could definitely relate, because when I married Avi, I got rid of basically all of his clothes.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's not just my wife. It's a gender thing. Jiminy
He
Cricket.
needed an upgrade, serious upgrade.
No wonder the guy looks so mucked up now. He's
No, and
still suffering from
now
that.
he looks so sharp,
So
and he's
you
looked sharp for
see,
a long time.
folks, matter of perspective, and that's what I'm talking about here. That I can see from your mindfulness concept, that this is other decluttering concept is appropriate. It's helpful also. But for me, the victim, as I victimize myself, perhaps it's who I am, and I'm not sure. Part of our core differences here is that it's not like I turn a light switch on and I have to decide whatever. I don't even have any criteria. So how does one attack that or approach it?
I mean, to start small again, to start small, especially if it's with regards to your space, thinking about what it is that you can let go of that's cluttering your space, your mind. Um, slowly having some help, asking somebody to help you. Like, we all have people in our lives that are really good organizers. I happen to have my mother who's really good at that, and I came to a place where I now allow her to help me with that, although at first for a long time it felt like it was a criticism, but now I see she's like, let me help you in the way that I can, and I'm like, all right, let's bring it on. And she'll help me with organizing those things, because that is not, it's not one of my highest skill sets.
But that's what I'm saying, though. And I know you talk physical. I think emotional is even a harder challenge,
Yeah.
and that's kind of my
Right.
dilemma
So
here.
with emotional, as far as, again, well, I'll talk about two things. The first thing is, as far as, again, the people that you let into your world and spend the most time with. We know that the 5 people that we spend the most time with is really how we're gonna. That's like going to be our high level of how we're going to live our life and reach our goals. So thinking about, I work with people, creating a list of the people in their lives, literally writing down the people they spend time with, and putting a plus or a negative. Does it add to their life, or does it, deflate them, or does it inflate them? And then we think about how much time, boundaries, how many hours you're going to spend with the people that are negatives, and really starting to create those boundaries. And then we go into really about your thoughts.
But I'm going to ask you. I hear that. I hate to interrupt because we've got a few moments
No
left.
worries, please.
But how do I know if the thoughts are negative? If it's been a part of my lifestyle for the last umpteen months or years? If it's, to me, it's normal.
Well, you have to start being aware, becoming aware of it. And I mean, I have a client now that I work with, and she's, every time before she says anything, it's like, I'm really bad at interviewing. I didn't have a great interview. I'm really bad on the spot. I'm really stink at this. And I'm like, hold up, like, let's just rewind for a minute. Let's start with not saying what you're bad at. Let's say maybe this is something that we want to work on. And so, how can we set you up for success? How can we set you up for being, as prepared? And maybe when you go in, because she's like, I'm fine when I just walk in and talk about myself and what I do. It's when I sit down and I have to look at, Peter, and it's a formal interview. I'm like, well, why don't we create an idea of, like, you can kind of almost assume that you're meeting me, or you're meeting a friend in that interview space, and you're talking to them like that, and really kind of seeing them almost like, Joe, you're my long time friend. We're just shooting breeze. You're just going to be asking me about what I do best, what my strengths are. But really, I have to keep reminding her that the words that she says, I stink at this, or this is, I never know what to say, because that's going to be what she does.
Right.
That's part of the understanding that she needs to really get. And that's something that I really needed to get, that we're going to create more of that if we don't become aware of what we're saying to ourselves or to others about ourselves.
Right.
It's going to be that way until we say, we flip it. And I know you say flip it, but honestly, reframe that by saying, I'm really good on the spot. I'm really, I am good enough. I do have the skills. It becomes our reality the more we program that belief into ourselves and replace the old belief that does not serve us. It's a process. It's not immediate. It takes repetition, and catching yourself, like what I do with this client. I'm constantly catching her, and on the spot, she'll say, all right, no, I am good at this.
I get the journey, and I get the path that's a part of that journey. I still have trouble with the catalyst, though. That it's still, to me, it's easy said. Really, you have to set your mind correctly to make this happen. I understand you had challenges with yourself, and you kind of stumbled into your mindfulness journey because you needed a time to relax or to get away or to stress out. Somebody made an invite to you. And maybe that's a concept that if people suggest, and you can't tell sometimes if people are saying things to you because they're trying to help you or hurt you. And that can be, I think, a challenge also.
I think you have to be careful about pushing personal growth on people because
Mm-hmm.
they have to be ready for it. But yeah, no, inviting people to things, inviting people to seminars, inviting people to check out what I'm doing or what you're doing, to invite them to check it out. They don't have to subscribe. They don't have to be, become a student of it, but you never know. I mean, if they're ready, like they say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And so I happened to be ready at that time. I don't know if I was ready before that.
Yeah.
And again, I
You made,
stumbled upon it, but
you,
I don't think it was an accident.
yeah, you made a good point that maybe the primary person like moi still can't get over my plates being tossed on me 30,000 years later, but maybe a good friend could reach out to me and say,
Yeah, no,
"Hey, I get that, but here's something you might want to consider as what happened to you, and give it a look at, perhaps."
yeah. And how about asking you, what if you could let go of that plate thing and just, let go of it, let go of it, let go of that thought. Uh, you survived all these years with different plates. You
Barely, I'm hanging on by this.
well,
Folks, it's been our 15 minutes, and we try to be more honest on our timeline. Thank you, Lizzie, though, for the pearl. And what I'm getting out of this, perhaps, is that maybe I'm not ready, but if a friend of mine is ready, they can take me by the hand or by the arm or the elbow and kind of guide me in a direction that gives me the ability to see a different perspective. Is that kind of what you're saying?
absolutely. And yeah, and we learn from each other. I mean, I talked about my house being staged and being so neat. And I had a friend come over the other day. She's like, woo, like it like inspired her even though it was done for a reason, it
Mm-hmm.
inspired her to go home and like to clean up her house because she was came here. So you never know what you're doing can be an inspiration to others and can be like the almost like the forklift to getting them to do something differently.
I hear that. I guess you could call that like giving forward because it can always come
Paying it
back to you
forward.
also.
Absolutely.
Thank
Always.
you, folks, for your participation. We really enjoy it. And Lizzie, thank you very much. Have a good week next week.
Thank
Your
you so
time
much.
away.
I thank you. I'm definitely going to have some good girl time. Thank
Uh,
you. You have a
t-
good week too. And everybody take good care.
take care. Bye.